Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective Podcast. I'm Tim Types, as always, from my Uncommon Fossil.
Hello, I'm very glad to be here today.
Yep, and today we're talking about Chaos Rising here. This is the Pokemon TCG expansion releasing internationally very soon. It's releasing May 22nd, which is this week. I'm excited. I'm always excited for new expansions, but this is definitely today we're taking a look at. We each rank the top 10 cards in the set, and we're going to be taking a look at those, talk about them, and we were talking about this before the podcast, but they're kind of hard to rank, aren't they?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, I think there's like three cards that are pretty good, probably top three, and then it starts to get really squirrely after that. Things shift around a lot, even within the top 10, or even out of the top 10 to like fourth or fifth potentially. It's which is probably an indication that I suspect it's a weak set, but we'll save that conclusion till the end of the podcast.
Yeah, so make sure you stick around till the end, of course. But yeah, no. Anyways, we haven't seen each other's lists. We actually talked about this. We were like thinking about our list, and we were like considering changing them and stuff like that right before. But anyways, let's take a look at each other's lists and our own, and let's probably go through it as well for the audio listeners. But yeah, let's open up each other's lists now.
All right, I got yours, and you got mine. So
Okay, this is
okay,
interesting. We obviously
well,
have some different cards here. One card I'm surprised isn't on your list, but I'll go ahead and read mine first. So I have number one, special red card. And number two is my Greninja EX. Number three, Magnet Metal Energy. Number four, Prism Tower. Number five, Patrat or whatever. Number six, Big Catch Net. Number seven, Beedrill EX. Number eight, Philippe. Number nine, AZ's Tranquility. Number 10, Corgeist EX. Then I have an honorable mention here of Mega Drag Algae EX there.
okay, good. And I have I have two honorable mentions. I'll toss in, but they're not in the image. A special red card one, Mega Greninja EX2, Patrat 3, Book of Transformations 4. That one's been in and out. Beedrill EX5. That one I think is pretty solid. Crobat, Ninetales, AZ's Tranquility. Claydol is 9. And one of the four Deoxys, the one with Psy Protect, as number 10. That
And what are your
that
honorable mentions there? Or do you going to save
Uh,
them for later?
I have Philippe and Mega Fluetta.
Okay.
I put
Um,
those.
so we'll talk about these cards here. I suppose we'll start at the top here, where it's like we generally agree. Um, I'll first, we all had special red card one. I imagine, if anyone's been like paying attention to the set in terms of what's good, special red card is the best card in this set pretty clearly, I'd say. With it being an item here, you can only play this if your opponent has three or fewer prizes remaining. And then your opponent shuffles their hand to their deck, puts it on the bottom, or sorry, shuffles their hand, puts it on the bottom. I need to remember that. And then they draw
Yeah.
three. So a disruptive item there, pretty good. Works some of the game, and yeah, pretty good.
Well, yeah, and the fact that it shuffles and goes to the bottom makes it better, right? Because we do have draw from the top of the deck. So, if it just shuffled in, it still probably would be number one, but shuffle go to the top. Definitely really good. Your opponent's going to get to three prizes or less remaining every game. If you're playing a mega deck, that could even be turn two. And, it's a very disruptive card. It's an item. So just good and just gonna go in pretty much every deck, I would think, right? There'll be exceptions, but, the starting point is like 1 to 2 copies of special red card, I think, in every deck after this comes out.
Yeah, I think it'll be in most decks. With Perfect Order, we had Meowth EX. With Ascend Heroes, we had Pokepad, which I'd say Meowth EX and Special Red Card are closer, as in like a one of in a lot of decks, or maybe a two of. But ultimately, we got these like true, I'd say like I describe them as true staples there. Special Red Card, as you said, will see a lot of play. It's specifically in terms of meta. It's good against Alakazam. Alakazam, I mean, I guess related to that, we don't really have hand disruption standard outside of Unfair Stamp, and like Judge
Right.
is okay. I mean, there's some hand disruption, but it's certainly not like what we had with pre-rotation with Iono. And this card definitely, I think, brings some of that back, and we're going to see more hand disruption. This alongside Unfair Stamp will make a more, I'd say, consistent hand disruption package where you now have multiple cards that fill that role. Yes, Special Red Card is obviously a lot weaker than Unfair Stamp because it's not an A-spec there and doesn't draw you cards and can't be used on presumably as many turns as Unfair Stamp, but definitely I guess it could be used more turns. I guess that does depend. But ultimately, yeah, definitely a very good card here. I wouldn't say it's the most interesting card. I might say it's one of the least interesting cards here, but that's because it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it does what it does, right? So it's not, yeah, it's not interesting. There's more interesting cards, but the cards that are more interesting are worse because it's the things that make them interesting make them worse. I would say.
Yeah, that's probably true there. I was just like looking through your list more, and I'm like thinking like some of these cards I don't think are very good, but we'll get to that. I remember there's one of these cards here that when it was revealed, I said it's not good, and you said it was good, and we're gonna get back to that. But the number 2 card here is my Greninja EX. I guess we'll also read this one out here. We both had it, and I imagine most people
Yep.
think this is probably the second best card in the set. Um, I was at one point didn't have it as the second best card in the set, but it's pretty good here. It's pretty decent. It's a
Yeah.
mega. It's like the card the set's named after, and it's the card the set's named after in Japan. And you have the ability Immortal Shuriken. Once in your turn, if it's active, you can discard a basic water energy from your hand to put 6
Yep.
damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then you just spend the attack for 2 water, does 120, and then you can return a water energy from this Pokemon to your hand, and if you do, you do 80 more. So 200 there. Um, it's 350 HP, stage 2 Mega. Obviously, it's kind of similar to Dragapult EX. It's not quite as good there, but it's decent. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean, the ability is pretty good. Placing damage counters is good. Obviously, it's a big part of the game. There's damage, there's spread, there's moving damage, all parts of the game. So 6 is a good number. This card, it did cause a ban in Expanded, right? Metacham V, right?
I don't
At
think
least,
so. I think it goes to different deck, but
well,
they haven't really given like a actual stance on it. And the deck that supposedly was the reason for the ban, it doesn't seem that good. I mean, it seems okay, I guess. I've never seen it in tournaments. It's not like it's a brand new deck, so
yeah, so but we kind of discussed it whether when this kind of got leaked too. But look, it's a very good ability. It'll see play. Maybe it shouldn't, it's not universal certainly. There probably is a more universal card that we'll get to, so maybe this doesn't belong in 2. But 350 HP, a nice number there. It's a stage 2, that's a negative. And then the attack doing 200 damage with putting energy in your hand. The energy in hand's not so bad, and because then you can discard the energy the following turn, right? So it has some synergy. Putting energy into hand actually is kind of a good thing. You can't afford to be getting knocked out, of course, but that's true with any mega, especially a stage 2 mega. But the attack's not, I mean, 200 damage is not enough, though. So it's really there for the ability. Sitting on the bench, you can do more than one potentially for turn if you're
if you're
able to get
switching
more
in them.
influence. Yeah, it has to be in the active spot. So you have to get it in and out, which is its own tricky thing. So, yeah. So it'll have some play, but it's a big step down from special red card to Mega Greninja EX, I would say.
Yeah, and we're not going to go over it in this episode here. We've talked about it in the past. I've certainly talked about a bunch on my channel, so you can check out other videos and just like on Limitless here as well. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, so if you have like let's say Mega Greninja EX, Mega Greninja EX is out in Japan. It's only out in Japan, so you can
Yep.
take a look. If you scroll down, I'm just looking for. If you're just listening, you can listen along. But you scroll down to the bottom of the card page, and you click City League deck list, and you can find deck lists for it. It's not out internationally though, so you can't find other deck lists. You can find a bunch of decks for City Leagues. This is true for like cards that aren't as good. There's more City League deck lists than other deck lists as well. So you can find some cool stuff there, or bad stuff as well, or good stuff. You can find a bunch of different stuff. But Mega Ninja EX has seen play in a few different decks, or okay, they've all been like Mega Ninja, but different like variants, including one with fighting Lunatone Solark, Blood Saloon. Okay, anyways, I am not aware of that one, but there's like Dragapult. There's some using the 2 prize Greninja EX as well, and there's some overall different builds that are kind of cool. We're not diving into them today, but it definitely has some different use cases. And as you're saying, I don't know if it's like truly a secondary piece, but it heavily relies on the other piece in the deck, like Dragapult EX with Drake or like the regular Greninja EX or other pieces around it to heavily support it, more so than I'd say other cards, and maybe
Right,
more so.
like I just clicked on the first list in the City Leagues, which is a Dragapult one, and then it doesn't play uh, the Dusknoir line, right? So it kind of replaces that, which makes sense. So that obviously has its plus. It's another stage 2 line, so you can kind of see you're not giving up a prize with it. So when you use it, so obviously makes some sense there.
Yeah, and you use new upper energy as well, because you can't actually attack Dragapult EX in this list without new upper energy. That's generally how I think it's played. So you're
Yeah.
attacking with the Greninja. You can attack with Dragon Bolt EX. You can do different things. I guess it's cool. I haven't played it. I definitely will when the set comes out. But yeah, overall, pretty. Also, this plays Lumio City. Anyways, I always get like see kind of weird cards in the deck. Also, Wild's Compassion works well here because you're returning the energy to your hand. So, well, if it's Neo Upper, that's how you can attack with one attachment there. But yeah, anyways, the
Right.
card is pretty good. The deck is pretty cool, I suppose. It's not crazy, but it's cool and it's definitely a fun deck. I guess I don't know if it's fun to play against, but it's probably fun to play with.
Yeah, and obviously it could go in a lot of different decks as kind of that damage spreading piece with something else. So yeah, yeah. Why don't we do the Patrat next? Because that's 3 on mine, but it's 5 on yours. So you see it as a good card,
Yeah,
uh, right? So where some are much more divisive there. So Patrat, as I'm getting it called up here, and I don't, as you said, not sure exact pronunciation. It does attack 1 for 10, but it's here for the Watchful Eye ability. If this Pokemon's in play, you and your opponent can't move damage counters to another Pokemon. So it is the Monkey Dory counter here, which is
I mean
obviously
you
a
mean the
very
Ninetales counter, right?
it is the Ninetales counter, yes, which is in made my list. I don't think it made your list.
It
So
did not make my list.
because you're worried about Patrat shutting down.
Exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, there will be Patrat will get slapped in a bunch of decks, right? This is probably the second most universal card in the set, I think.
Yeah.
Um, it's a pre-evolution. There's a stage 1, a Watchhog, but that's not as good. So, although it's a control card, but usually we give the final evolution with credit for the pre-evolution. But here, mostly it's going to be the pre-evolution, the Patrat, without seeing the final evolution in decks at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe the Watchdog will come up, so be aware of that. It can do 50 for 1, or can disrupt your hand some, as you're saying. It's like a control card. So if you do see Patrat, I don't know. Has anyone played this Watchdog? I'm actually going to quickly check. I mean, certainly. Oh, yeah, is there another Watchdog in Standard? There is as well, which isn't good. But this other one, this control one, has seen, I guess, technically some play, but certainly not very, very good there. But yeah, ultimately, the Patrat is pretty like it's a good counter against Monkey Dory. Admittedly, I mean, some decks playing Monkey Dory, a lot of them already do have spread, so they might be able to take out your Patrat pretty easily as well, in which case it's not like super good, but it's still going to buy you a little bit of time. It's an okay counter to a pretty good card. The other card it's counting isn't the main focus of decks, but it's, another one of those counters, kind of like Battle Cage. And I'd say, probably on a similar level to Battle Cage, maybe a little worse because it's not a stadium bump. It is easier to search out, though.
Right. Yeah, and it's 70 HP, which is good, right? Better than being 60. So Dragapult doesn't one shot it when it's on the bench with its damage counters, but you can still get it with Buddy Buddy Poff. And so 70 is that's really the ideal HP for most Pokemon, right? For the low HP Pokemon.
Yeah, you'd rather have 500, but yeah, certainly this is going to be better than 80, I imagine. Even like
Yeah.
100, I'd say. But anyway, so then we have my number 3 card. Wait, that's not on your list. Okay.
It didn't no, and it didn't even make my my other cards. So go on and
Okay,
read the
like
card
because
off.
you were like talking about this card, but I guess you were joking about it.
Yeah.
Magnet Metal Energy. This card is one of the special energies. The way these work is that as long as it's attached to a Pokemon, it provides the energy of that type. It does not need to be that type of Pokemon it's attached to. However, in order to get the second effect,
Right.
which is what makes it good and better than a basic, it needs to be attached to a Pokemon, like a metal Pokemon, and then it has no retreat cost. Having free retreat is just good. Um, Downside to playing these special energies, it varies from deck to deck. Playing like the Psychic one isn't really a downside. Playing the Grass one is like a horrible downside because of the decks that they'd go in. I think playing the Metal one, I mean, I don't think Metal is actually very good. And I don't actually expect this card to see a ton of play right now for that reason. I mean, like getting free retreat's really good, and also Metal Pokemon tend to have high retreat, so that's really good. This card isn't crazy broken or anything, but I don't know. I mean, free retreat is good. Quite simply, yeah.
No, yeah. Look, I was a big fan of Hiding Darkness Energy, which was a similar card for a Darkness Pokemon. Which is what I was excited about this, and I still am excited. The problem is, like you said, for special energies, you can search them some, but it's more limited. That's one downside. But we do have energy search that will search for this. But the big thing is metal Pokemon aren't that good, and I don't know what I where I'd use this. That's the problem. I don't have a use case for the card, so therefore I didn't put it on my list because it's yes I do. It's a good card with better cards like Hiding Darkness. There was like good decks like there's the Wheezing that shut off abilities. You had Eternatus VMAX, Crobat V. Yeah, so we had good darkness Pokemon in the format. So therefore, that made Hiding Darkness a good card. Whereas this, the same card, but essentially, but there's just not good Pokemon to pair it with.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd say this is more so like an in the future type of card, and like look at this card more of in a vacuum. Let's see, what are the standard? I know there's like Hang, there's let's see, there's Steven Spider-Ghost EX as well. Those are both going to be accelerating basic energies there, so that kind of sucks. It's not horrendously terrible, but it's not great. Looking around, there's Hopsashian EX that sees some play. There's Archaludon EX as well. That's not going to be as good. Overall, I don't think it has super good uses in standard right now, but I think the card is decent. Also, counterpoint to like as you're saying, like it doesn't have uses. I feel like a lot of the cards you have on your list also don't have use cases, but we'll get to that. I don't think this card is crazy, crazy good. I mean, I think it's pretty good. I actually, so I didn't really like Hiding Darkness. I didn't really play. I played some Darkness, at the point which it was in standard, but you played more than me, and with that, it was with like Eternus VMAX, and there being a special energy again wasn't really much downside with metal. It is a bit more of a downside in what we have in standard and things we've like seen in the past as well. But I don't know. I feel like magnet metal energy, in terms of the special energies, is one of the better effects. I don't think it's the best effect, but I think it's probably like the third best effect behind the psychic one. And then also I'd say the new lightning one that was recently revealed. I'd say this is maybe the fighting one's better. I think this is better than the fighting one. But they're pretty different. Yeah, overall, like I don't think this card's crazy good, but I mean I think it's pretty good, and the downside isn't too bad compared to um regular metal energy, and yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
A good
I
card.
mean, I'll just say a couple things quickly here. First off, I think Patrat definitely should go above this, just because this Patrat's going to get used a lot more than this magnet metal energy, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that. So, um,
Yeah,
so first off, I think that I would also put Philippe above it, which made my honorable mention, just because that will get used more for metal decks
I
than
don't know.
this
I
will
feel like
too.
I feel like Philippe's like I don't know. We'll talk about that.
We'll get to Philippe. So anyway, and then the other thing is, I think the Nitro Fire Energy actually, with the right use
Fire energy
case,
is
is
so
also very
bad.
good. Well, fire is bad, but that's why I'm saying the metal
No,
one's
no,
not good
Nitro
either.
Fire
Because
energy is bad. It like doesn't do anything.
well,
Terrible.
it
Wait, so
it,
why
it
why
doesn't
why do
get
you like Nitro
discarded.
Fire energy? Well,
Well,
yeah, but
if
it
you
goes to your
have the right
hands.
deck, so if there's occasion there are cards that like that.
Name one card
Nothing.
like ever
I
that wants
There have
this.
been some in the past. I don't
No, all
remember
of them
what.
like most of them like work with basic energy though, and like
All
you can
right.
accelerate basic
So
energy.
all right, guys, look, the magnet metal's good in a vacuum. This is what I'll say.
Yeah,
I'm not looking at which you would agree right now in terms of you see it as a down the road card, right? Which I get that.
yeah. I mean, I think some metal decks could play. I mean, like even something like what's Archaludon? Archaludon's split through. No, it's only 2 or 2, so you could double in there. I'm looking to see. I mean, Steven's Renegade EX does have through a tree. You can through a tree, and you probably don't want to play that. But I don't know. I
Hmm.
mean, like this could see. I would not be shocked if it's seen. Well, let me check to see if it play.
See, if it came out a year ago when we had Goldengo EX,
But
then
that
it would
one's
have
basic
value, right?
energy. So yeah, it's seen a little bit of play in Archaludon, Steven's Metagross. Um, not seen tons of play. Regarding the Patrat thing, where that one, yeah, I guess that probably should be above it. I'm not a huge fan of Monkey Dory or these types of like counter card. Like I feel like Shaman
Yeah.
is like good, I guess. It sees a lot of play, but it's actually not that good. Um, right? I think you'd kind of agree with that.
Yeah, but it goes in decks, right?
Yeah,
You would agree you're going to see more Patrat than Magnet Metal Energy. I don't think that's a hot take there at all,
yeah.
right?
I'm sure people
But
play it, and then like they'll play it against a deck that doesn't play Monkey Dory, and it's just gonna like die. And so yeah, I'll see that.
well, yeah, no, it's. I'm not saying it's a better card just because it gets more play necessarily. That's not always true, but this is also where it gets this list is dice is very tricky. The top 10 here, right? The
Yeah.
magnet metal could be good. Right now, it's not good. Will it be good? Maybe. Time will tell. There are some cards that do have better value now than magnet metal energy, though, that we're going to be discussing.
Yes, I think so. Um, I'm looking at the cards on both our lists. I don't think there are any that are hugely better than other than the Patrat. Like I think Patrat will see play. And I think at one point I had Patrat at 3 there. I think these top 5 or maybe 6 I have kind of grouped in a similar tier. But anyways, let's move on to the next card here, which is Prism Tower, which honestly I'm shocked isn't on your list. I feel like Prism Tower is like pretty good as well. Not like a staple, but it's decent here. It's a stadium. This is once during a turn or each player's turn, they can discard 2 cards to draw a card. And yeah, I mean we actually were talking a bunch about like discard with some of the new hand size reveals. This doesn't actually work super well with them, but it works okay with them. But anyway, so this is useful where you want to discard stuff like with Ledge, and it does draw you a card as
Yeah.
well. We are talking about, I mean, even with like the Crobat here, which you have on your list, it puts something on top of your deck. Prism Tower would get you that card. I don't think Prism Tower is a crazy good card, but also looking at the other stadiums, current stadiums aren't super good. I mean, there's some countery ones that are pretty decent, not like the best counter stadiums we've ever seen, like Path to Peak or Silent Lab, but they're definitely decent. I mean, you look at Team Rocket's Watchtower, Battle Cage, Jamming Tower, things like that are good, and you might want to counter. And Prism Tower is an okay counter. Um, I think it's probably going to be one of the better stadiums in the game when it comes out. Trying to think, I definitely feel like there's a big one I'm missing. It's Universal, maybe. I'm not even sure if there is a big one I'm missing, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, like there was Artizone and stuff like that, but that rotated. So I think Prism
Right.
Tower is pretty good. Specifically, look at it in these decks where you want to discard stuff, which they definitely do exist. They're not like super common, but even in other stuff, it just gets you an extra card. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, at one point this probably was a top 10 card. This is kind of in what I have 4 other cards. So this is the one of the 4 other cards that you have. There's 3 other cards that maybe I'll toss out at some point that aren't on your list at all. So I think it's good up to a point. I think though, yes, it's good for card decks that want to discard. I will get like Ceruledge or something like that. That want cards in the discard pile. So that I get 100%, and therefore maybe it should go on the list just for that aspect of it. It's a stadium. Getting stadiums in hand is awkward. So might that and tools aren't great. Probably stadiums might I think of as maybe the hardest to get. Maybe that's not fair, but that's my mindset. So that's definitely a strike against it. I think it's obviously designed with the set to go with 2 cards. There's the other stadium, Hyper Rogue, what Angie
Well, what?
Fluetta,
Yeah.
Ange
What?
Fluetta. Okay, so which that didn't make out of our list, so which is fair enough there, and it's also designed to go with the Crobat, which is on my list, so we'll be getting to that. And I think the Crobat. If you're playing Crobat, then I'm probably playing Prism Tower, but the Crobat's the better piece, I think, because I have
That's fair,
more.
I guess.
I don't need even with if I'm playing Crobat, I don't need Prism Tower. I could play other cards to make that trigger. So therefore, to me, Crobat's better than Prism Tower. That's kind of my mindset with it. Partly why Prism Tower is not on my
I
list.
feel like sometimes gonna see playing stuff that's not Crobat though, and I don't really think Crobat's gonna
Yeah,
actually see much play. I mean, it's a fun card. I do like Crobat. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty cool, but um, yeah, it's a little meh for standard. I was playing pre-release and it's cool. It's cool. I didn't play with it. I played against. I even played against it.
yeah,
I think I did. But anyway, so I don't know. I feel like Prism Tower. Also, I will say we have seen some of the, or I guess no, we've seen like all the reveals from Pitch Black. There's a deck that another archetype, the something called something Veil. Is it Cursed Veil? I think I said Cursed Veil. Oh, Ghost Veil. There we go. Yeah. So Ghost Veil, we want Pokemon to discard as well. So I feel like archetypes like this come around pretty frequently. We have some in standard, so I feel like Prism Tower is pretty good. I think there's something else
yeah,
I'm forgetting with it. Maybe not.
yeah. Yeah, because I just called up because I didn't look at the city leagues when I was doing this. So there's actually a lot of there's like 15 pages of city league decks with the stadium. So that's a lot, more than I think special red card when I looked at that.
Sorry,
Maybe I'm wrong on that
can't be one
one,
of the
but
special rate card.
then maybe it's more than the Mega Greninja. I called up something, or maybe the Patrat, but it's a bunch.
Yeah. So okay.
The
Well,
top the
okay.
first
Special rate card. Sorry, has 207 pages. So.
Okay, sorry. So it was the yeah. So yeah, that makes more sense. Special rare cards are much better. But the Team Rocket stack
That seems
can go
bad
with.
though. I guess yeah, I kind of knew that. It does discard energy for Spidops, and then it thins your, like reduces
Yeah.
your hand size for Teamwork Ariana, but like you could also just play the stadium that actually just draws you cards, which seems better. I don't know. This seems like a little man in that deck. And it's mostly like Sterilage, some other random decks as
Well,
well.
yeah,
And
like they're
Cynthia's as
playing
well.
two Team Rockets Factory in one of the new stadium, and I would probably just play four Team Rockets
Yeah,
Factory,
that's what I was
honestly.
thinking.
But because right, getting the bonus cards of return is like part of what makes Team Rocket so nice. But anyway, but that's seeing use there too. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. So anyways, the card's, I think it's pretty decent. It's not, it's not some crazy powerful card, but it's like it's all right.
Yeah.
Then you got a card that I really like, which is Book of Transformation, which we were like talking about. Um, and decks are so bad. I mean, okay, admittedly, the decks I was kind of trying to go for are like I kind of knew weren't going to be good, but still, this card I love this card and it's not on my list.
Yeah, no, it's a fun card. It's what it does. If you're not familiar with it, you must play two Book of Transformation at one time. There is a Pokemon that's attack draws you two, but what Sudowoodo I think it is, right?
Yeah.
But that's just not good. Not close to making my list, and probably not close to making your list either. But then what happens if you play two? You choose a basic Pokemon from your discard pile, and you switch it in with any of your basic Pokemon in play. Could be active or bench, and then any attack cards and special energies, damage counters, special conditions, turns in play, any effects on it remain on the new Pokemon, which means if you had a basic that you played the previous turn, once you do the switch in, you could immediately evolve that Pokemon because it's been in play for a turn. It's an item version of Thornton, which rotated a year ago or something. I don't
Uh,
remember. Which is a supporter that did the same thing. You only had to play one copy, of course, because of being a supporter. You played that with that card a lot, I would say. I played with it some. It was a lot of fun. I think it was a little. It was. I was going to say a little underwhelming, but honestly, it probably was even more than a little underwhelming. But it was a very fun card. So on an item, potentially very good. The problem with it is you have to get two copies. So that's the concern, right? Obviously, if it was one copy, it would be pretty high up on your list. I got to imagine. It probably would be better if now let me ask you this question: if it was a coin flip, would it be better? Would you rank the card better or worse if it was a coin flip for one
I would
50-50?
rank it better. I wouldn't like to play it as much. Regarding Thornton, I mean, I played some. I was really excited for Thornton. I like love talking about that card. I talk about it
Yeah,
like a lot. But it's like as a more silly gimmicky card, it's okay. In some ways, Book of Transformation is a better gimmicky card. It's more gimmicky. I don't know if it's a stronger gimmicky card. Um, but there's a stronger card within those gimmicky decks. But in terms of like
right.
how Thornton actually saw play, I mostly saw play as this honestly very safe, consistent card to keep you in games, do some funny tricks, but generally, keep you in games as you're saying with like the evolution stuff. If you're like only basic gets knocked out, it helps you there. Book of Transformation can also do that. With the coin flip aspect, I mean, quite simply, you just don't need two in your hand at the same time. If you're playing a supporter like Liz Determination, or really any supporter like that, where you're getting rid of your hand and drawing new cards, which is most supporters in the game, then or most like good draw supporters, then this will you'll be able to play Book of Transformations more. I think this card quite simply you're gonna struggle to play. And you can't really
Yeah.
like build around it. You can't necessarily build around it so much if it's a coin flip either. And obviously you could just play it and it doesn't do anything. You could play all four of them and it doesn't do anything. But yeah, I definitely think it would be better as a coin, more powerful.
Okay, right. I mean, if you had two in hand, you'd rather it be like this because you're guaranteed to activate it, right? Your two coin flips, you still might miss it,
Yeah.
but with one coin flip, it would probably be a better. It would see more play because you're willing to take that chance. I think. Look, it's is this such a good card? No. Is it a fun card? I think the answer to that's yes for me, and you probably would agree about with that too. Why is it so high on my list? I think once you get after to me, that's the top three special red card, Mega Greninja EX, Patrat. It gets really confusing as to where things lie. I gotta say. I can make arguments depending on the day or the time of day or the minute as to how these cards should fall.
Wait, so
Honestly,
what
and
are
that
your arguments for this card though? You didn't actually say any arguments. You said it's
I
not
think
that good.
That
And
no, the switching's very good. It's just the bad part is you need to have two of them. That's a problem. But switching a basic to a basic's good. Especially, I think, look, if you're playing I think with a big basic mega deck, I can, yes, I switch into another basic. Yes, I'm going to get knocked out with when I switch in with a damaged mega, right? But also, I'm only giving up one prize instead of three prizes. I think that's a good use case.
a
You
lot of
can
resources,
also,
and then you knock yourself out though. I feel like you still want to attack as well. You're gonna like run out of energy doing that.
well, I'm just, look, it's a fun card, and yes, I think it's going to have some value. Look, getting cards from the discard pile, like with Night Stretcher, is a good thing. So in a sense, yes, you need two, so that's the problem. But getting that Pokemon from the discard pile into play that's the goal. Like with Night Stretcher, and sometimes it is basic Pokemon. So it's just so it takes care of that for us, and it does let you, if it's a big basic Pokemon, that's good that you're getting into play. But also, if it's a basic that's going to evolve, now you can evolve it immediately, which you couldn't do with other ways. So it is that way to address. With an evolution based deck, there's times that you just can't attack the next turn if you don't have the pre evolutions in play, right? So it gets around that. It's a nice option to have in a deck, is what I'll say.
I agree, it's a nice option, like with Thornton, right? Um, just like not very consistent. I don't know. I think it's a cool card, and it's seen some playing like ends. I think where you have like excess. You need a lot of cards in your hand, right? To be able to hit this one, you need
Yes.
that generally. I mean, you could search out two cards, but you can't really do that. I guess there's like Noctowl. Maybe there's something there with that. I definitely don't hate this card. I definitely really like this card. It's like a fun card. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Hopefully, it'll end up being cool. But I guess we'll see on that one. Then got your number 5 card, my number 7 card, which I also think is decent. That's Beedrill EX here with the Beat Rumble for 1 grass. It does 110 for each Beedrill EX you haven't played. It also includes a regular Beedrill, but they're on regular Beedrill. So
Right.
or in standard. So this is able to do up to 440 for 1 grass. Obviously, you're probably not doing that. Maybe 330 feels doable. Not too
Right.
crazy there. So yeah, I mean that's obviously very good. I don't think you're getting there all the time though. I think you're looking at like 220, which is still okay, honestly. This card's pretty decent.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good card. This could have been three. This one card could have been two on my list at one point. It might have been, honestly, as well. Um, and further down, like I said, there's a lot of movement. It's 310 HP isn't great these days, so that's a negative to it. It's a stage two. Don't love that, but that is what it is. It really needs a single prize B drill in format. That's the thing that it's holding it back.
Wait, just
Um,
wondering
we,
why.
well, it lets you it gets easier to get three. You really, to me, the goal is to do 330 a turn. If you could do 330 per turn for one energy, I can win games like that, right? I would say.
Yeah.
It's a stage two, but you're getting good damage for one energy, and we have the stadium to evolve right away. So awesome there too. But because I'm gonna have to play four of my stage twos, which you don't love. It just would be better if I had the first. I would really like a single prize Beedrill that I had an attack that I would want to use sometimes, but I just think it'd be easier to get three in play if I had one or two single prize Beedrills.
Yeah.
I
I
just
think
think
it'd
it
be
would
a
flow
little easier.
better.
Now that I think about it, actually with Pokepad, it would be noticeably easier. So that is admittedly
Yeah,
true. I was just thinking about like I don't know, you just get off like bug catching. I feel like that's not a huge thing holding it back. I think it's holding it back some. Um, let's just talk about like the damage cap, and theoretically you could somehow increase it using the stage two, um, with a single price stage two, but you don't need to damage anyways from the max to 40 there. As you're saying,
no,
330 is pretty good. Overall, I feel like just in general though, as you're saying, it's like use it with force vitality. I kind of say this is like Arboliva by good. I think Arboliva EX is kind of bad. Because it doesn't do that much damage, and this does a bunch of damage, which is pretty nice. The setup is like I
yeah,
don't really play too much Force Vitality. I certainly see it some. I may have played it some as well, and I think this will work okay with it. Not really sure what you pair it with. I don't think that's like a great part. I know people have been playing Beedrill some. Let me quickly check here. If you know off the top of your head as well, you could.
no, I don't. So
It looks like with Arboliva or the Dunsparce. both of which I think are not very, but that's fine. Or both together.
Okay. And they're playing with TMS Gogapon then, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wonder because TOS Gogapon in one sense I first was thinking that's what I'd pair it
Yeah,
with
that's what I was
because
thinking.
bug catching set gives me the engine, but I need to get 4 Weedles down, right? So therefore I can't.
We have some other
I
bench space. If that's all, if you like, you
yeah,
just have 4 Weedles, then you still have 2 spots
I
left.
do have some, but then do I want to have a Pheasantipity or do I want to the Meowth EX? Those different things too. So it's a little tricky how to pair it. I think to me you're just going with a Beedrill deck, and then the question comes: Am I doing typically 220 damage per turn, which case it's not good enough, or am I doing 330 damage per turn typically, in which case I can win with it, and that's going to be the question: how consistently can I get 3 Beedrills in play turn after turn?
Yeah, definitely. Where we're gonna see that, and obviously it depends how much you get knocked out, and then recovering. You can't like London Aid. I mean, you can, but not for the stage two. I guess that the single prizer would also be, I guess, meaningful, but presumably your Beedrill EX is still the one getting knocked out there. I guess it gives you another Pokemon to evolve into that to work there. So yeah, I suppose the single prizer is better than I was given it credit for. But yeah, overall, like a decent card. I think it's not like super good. I think it might end up being like a. I mean, generally when you look at new sets, you see like one deck that's pretty decent and one deck that's not very good. But it's okay, And I think Beedrill EX is looked at like that deck. That's okay. Not super impressive, but not terrible either. Definitely kind of fun and kind of all right there.
Well,
Um,
this is probably the best deck from the set. I think.
better than
I
Mega
don't think
Greninja.
Mega Greninja EX is a better deck. I think it's a better tech,
Well, but it's not a tech. Like
certainly.
it's the main Pokemon in the deck still that it's in.
Well, it's also not when it's in like Dragapult.
Yeah,
No, I don't know
Dragapult.
how
You
much
can
it is.
attack once with Dragapult, or like I don't know. Like with Dragapult, you're not even attack with Dragapult unless you use Neo Upper Energies.
You sure? Well, I don't know. It depends on the build
Well,
with the energies
certainly all the ones
and
I've
whatnot.
seen have not played any basic fire or psychic or special. I mean, well, I guess Neo Upper.
All right. Well, I guess in that case, you're playing the Dragapult for the Dracloak as your engine, and you toss it in one Dragapult as an attacking option.
Yeah, it's like a nice. It works decently with the deck, but it is mostly Mega Ninja EX there. Because you really need to be you kind of need to be all in, or not like all in, but like mostly in on Mega Ninja EX because a bunch of water energies. So if you're playing some other type, then it gets like it's not really going to work very well. And then Magunji EX as a support Pokemon just won't really work. Um,
All right. Now, I think as a main attacker, I'll be honest, I like Beedrill more than Mega Greninja. I gave Mega Greninja the number 2 because I think it's a good addition to other decks. Because I don't because the problem is now I'm only doing 200 damage with Mega Greninja. I'm doing more than that with Beedrill. Yes, I get the little spread damage, but now they're kind of equal for damage levels, and I think I'd rather have the grass Beedrill, honestly.
I don't know.
But
I think Beetle's all right. Like I don't think it's bad, but I know I feel like
okay,
Magunji EX you're looking at like potentially a lot of spread, some bigger combo return with like switch and stuff, surfing beat,
okay.
something like that. I don't know. We'll see though. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm too high on Magunji EX. It seems fun. I feel like it's a lot more fun than Beedrill EX in my opinion.
Yeah. No, it is. But Beedrill just is pretty straightforward. There's no doubt about that. All
We'll
right.
go on to I guess my card next.
Okay.
Big Catch Nat, which is an item that says shuffle up to 3 water Pokemon and up to 3 basic water energy from your card into your deck. This card originally I think would have even been number 2, and I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. But this card recovers a bunch of cards. Currently, water isn't super. I mean, water's okay, but you're not looking at these like big water decks of lots of energy and lots of Pokemon. But with Greninja EX, you kind of have that. Ultimately, I think the fit of this card isn't super good. Kind of like Magnet Metal Energy, similar idea there, but it recovers a bunch of stuff. We were talking about Super Red earlier today, before the podcast, and how, like that card's good, and this card is objectively better. Or, I don't know, it's not objectively better in a water deck because you're running some non-water Pokemon, but it's pretty good in a water deck.
Look, yeah, look, this was in my top 10 at one point. It's not. It's not even. Didn't even make my honorable mentions or my other cards. That means I don't have it in the top 16 to me. But a card like this is very good. Water tends to get some support like this. So if you're running a water deck, this is really good. We were talking earlier today about the value of Rod. As one of it's because I'm a big fan of Rod. I miss it for the format. I don't know if you agree exactly on me, but it's a useful card. In this three Pokemon, water Pokemon, three energies from discarding the deck, just really good, right? So if you're playing a water deck, an awesome card. The other thing I'll say is it hasn't been played a lot in the City Leagues I called up, but the first deck on the list is a Palafin EX deck. So maybe I'm all in on the card now.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Actually, that like seems like horrible synergy. Wait,
It's
it's
that with
Palafin Festival. Let's go.
it is. Yep. And they got the special water energy too.
They do. Yeah, that card exists.
Anyway, um, so I mean, it's a really good card. There's no denying that. It's the limitation of it's limited to water. What's the use case now is kind of why I'm not so big on it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I definitely think, compared to some of these other cards that also don't have, like, I have a lot more trainers on my list than you do. You have three. I have um 5 or 6 kind of special energy there as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely gone for some more general cards because I think a lot of these Pokemon we'll kind of get to them. I don't think they're super good, or I think they're pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, just we have Crobat next. Speaking of, so yeah, what's
Speaking
the
of
deal
not
there?
good, come on. Well, this is potentially really good. Look,
Yeah, no, I agree.
it's a stage two. Look, the stage one, I'll just throw out the Golbat, which for one darkness, you're immune to basic Pokemon, so that's not bad having it in your deck as well as an option there. But it's there really for its ability, Crobat. Once during a turn, if it's in the active spot, you can use this ability, search your deck for a card, and put it on top of your deck. Well, shuffle your deck and then put it back on top. Don't reverse the order. Obviously, wouldn't it'd be illegal, but it would be very bad for you too. And the retreat cost is 1 energy, which is good. It's 130 HP, so super uh, soft there. But putting one card on top of your deck, super good, right? And there are a number of ways to get cards into our hand. We have the Stadium that you talked about before, Prism Tower, just a card like Pheasantipity EX, anything that draws you from the top of the deck. So, and also we have Slowbro, right? If you're playing a Slowbro deck, this is
Yeah, Slowking,
um, a big boost to that. So, and you're a Slowbro fan, so I
Slowking,
think
Slowking.
so.
And I'm
Slowking,
not because
sorry.
it's funny, I guess. It's really
Yeah,
bad.
Slowking. Yeah, you talked me into trying it some, in part because you said with this instead it does get a bump, which it definitely
Yeah.
does.
Oh, the card, by the way,
Um,
the card that it gets a bump from isn't Crobat. I don't think. I don't think that card's. Maybe it
okay.
is, but wait, have people played Crobat in these? I just want to quickly check on that. But anyways, there's a
Yeah,
Metagross that like works well with it. I don't have the Metagross on my list. It's okay. Yeah, no one's played Crobat. Um, Metagross is I've opened the wrong card, but it's seen play in either with decks playing Matang or decks playing Slowking there. It's sorry, see in this Metagross deck. I think the quote Metagross deck is what? It's okay. Anyways, I guess it is a Metagross deck. Anyway, so um, but it's with Matang there. So that card's like decent, I guess. It's not honest, like it itself isn't a super good card.
the problem is stage two, right? That's if it was a stage one, it would be in your top 10, I would imagine, right?
I mean, I guess like well, it's also 4 energy. What makes it good?
Oh no,
Theoretically.
I mean Crobat.
Oh, Crobat. Yeah. Well, yeah, because we've seen this card in the past as a stage 2 and it was bad, and we've seen it as stage 1 and it's been good. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's pretty simple there. You mentioned like the previous evolution. The attack here it is 80 for 1, and confusion and poison. That's all right. Not terrible there, but certainly not a reason to play it. Bumps it up
No,
like maybe a little basic catch as well. So you got like some cool stuff in the evolution line. It's not a bad evolution line. Low HP evolution line, but not bad. I wouldn't say. Um,
right.
but the upside isn't that good. Nighttime maneuvers, putting the card on top is cool, but it's also like kind of hard to get it. You mentioned Prism Tower. Prism Tower, you also said, isn't very good. Um, those lose 2 cards in your hand can be good, but usually not good. You look at like President EX, sure that's good. I don't know, is that really how I want to be using it? Yeah,
Well,
what's
look,
what's the other card? Main Kangaskhan,
if you could have if you could have Crobat and Pheasantipity EX in play consistently, you'd be very happy, right? Being able to guarantee one of those three cards, and
Yeah.
right. I mean, you just would. The problem is setting up the Crobat. I get it. Plus, you need what do you need? Like 5 or 6. You need at least 5 cards within your evolution line, and if you do 5, then you have to have a rare candy as well. So if it's a rare candy deck, I guess then Crobat probably wants to go in a rare candy deck. I would guess. And that obviously is out there for sure. Could you slap it in your Dragapult deck? I probably wouldn't, but I might just because I like to do dumb things. But you had this, now you're guaranteeing what you hit with Dracoloak too, right? And you're
Yeah,
playing the
that's
rare candy,
true. I
and that
definitely
would be a
I like
good,
this card, but I don't love this card. At first, I will say when I saw this card, at first I thought, and also needs to, oh yeah, it needs to be in the active too, which is a pain.
yeah,
I keep forgetting, like, so you use like Air Balloon it, you can like Peck Run Air Balloon, like you can do that. At first, I thought this card, search for the card, put it into your hand, and I was like, oh, this card's pretty good, like good.
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it doesn't go into your hand, it goes on top. And I was like, oh, this card is like okay. It's a fun card. Um, I don't think it's crazy that you have it on 6 on your list. I think it's better than most of the cards after it on your list. But which I think are they're pretty bad. I think Ninetales is really bad. We talked about Ninetales in the past. I think that card's really bad. But um, yeah, I feel like Crobat is definitely interesting. I'd like it to see. It's fun.
I think it's fair to, yeah. I think yeah, it gets into the question of just the quality of this set too. I would
Yeah.
say right where Crobat fits, which we'll discuss that more at the end. But potentially it's good. Yeah, the stage 2 and the fact it has to be active are both negative. So we'll see what I look. You're going to try it at some point. I that's one prediction I'll make.
Yeah, probably. Or I guess one of those cards I'll just talk about and not try. There's like a
That
lot of
could
them.
be. No, but those are cards that you talk about how good they are, right? You
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
talked about how good Crobat is, so
That's true.
that means you're more likely to
I
do
think
it.
when I was first field, I might have talked about how it was good, but I've learned, especially since
All
no
right.
one's played
Well,
it, that seems sketchy.
that's a bad sign. Yeah. Yeah, that is bad. So we'll talk. Let's move to the next card, which you've already ripped as being terrible, and that is the Ninetales. Which, yeah, that's been in and out of my top 10 list, but it's in it now. It's a stage 1, almost as much 120 HP, only 10 less than Crobat. And then it's got the first attack is why it's here. Nine-tailed Reflect for 1 fire energy. Move all
Oh,
damage
because it's a
counters
Ninetales.
from say just for that name, that clever name, it
So
deserves on the list, right?
bad.
You move all damage
But that's
counters from one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to their active Pokemon. So this is look, it has a use case scenario for sure. It does 70 for 2.
uh-huh.
That's bad. That's bad. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. In the pre-evolution is not particularly good, and I don't know if there's any Ninetales in format now. But
Gotta be.
I would. That's why I think I would assume there should be. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think
there's
I've
the
checked
copying
though.
the supporter from the top of your deck card. Oh, I could play that with Crobat. Okay, we figured it out. It's control
You
time.
see, but you're gonna slap this in your deck too, aren't you? You get at least one copy of this
No, because
Ninetales.
well, it's control. You're not like doing damage.
Oh, that's true. But look, here's the thing: for a non-control deck, at some point, your opponents are playing rule blocks Pokemon. There's more and more Mega Pokemon going to be around, I assume. So you're taking 3 prizes, 1 knockout. Your opponent's trying to not give up 3 prizes, shockingly. So they're going to retreat to the bench. Yes, you can boss things up, and that's not a bad option. That's the simpler way to do it, the boring way. But here, you just
You're just
they get
Ninetales.
but now you can then but they go from one big mega to one to something else. So obviously the HP of the active needs to be lower than the one on the bench because you want to take the knockout. So but there's use cases for it, right? The question is, are you going to have a deck that's a fire deck? Ideally, it's a deck with Ninetales in it already, because putting this evolution line into even a fire deck gets dicey. But look, it's a fun card, is what I'll say, and I do think it has some use case scenario as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's kind of cool. I definitely kind of see the vision. I'm not gonna lie. I do have a counterpoint as to why it's really bad, but I'll get to that in a second. Um, regarding the like megas, I've been seeing so much Wild's Compassion lately with like Mega Lopunny. It's been like super annoying. Um, but yeah, I think like I kind of get the idea. As in Wild's Compassion, I don't know how much like I've been playing some live, not a ton, and like the Mega Lopunny just more Wild's Compassion in general, but the Mega Lopunny, and I'm just like not playing these decks that are super equipped to deal with it, which is on me, but still. Um, anyways, so I have a question for you though. So what are your
Okay.
thoughts on Sableye in Standard?
Uh, I
Exactly. You,
don't
you
have
don't know what
thoughts
this
on
card does, right?
Sable Eye. That the one that you can move them, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing, but it's on a basic. It is 2 colorless, so it is more energy.
Right.
But like I've never seen anyone play this card. I think this card is actually okay. Look at Seed Leagues. It's seen no play in Seed League. It's still in standard, by the way. So this is like the
Yeah.
same thing, but on a basic. Essentially, yes, it is 2 energy. We could use counting it. I still think counting it is pretty standard. But anyways, like you can attack with it. I definitely say it's easier to attack with than Ninetales. Um, it's not free, but it's getting 2 energy on a basic is by no means hard. Um, especially
Well,
because
but
it's
these are both
colorless.
the. Oh yeah, right. So you can crispin to it.
Yeah, you
Yes.
could Crispin, you could I mean whatever, right? You could energy switch with like Sugar Upon EX or something. Yeah, there's actually probably playing Crispin still. So yeah, I mean pretty much we have this card in standard. At worst, Sableye is as good as Ninetales. I think Sableye is definitely a lot better than Ninetales, but if you want to make the argument that they're like a similar power level, I would maybe see that. Um, I can't really see Ninetales being better. Technically, yes, you could use it with like Salvatore like first into play. That's not good. Um, but yeah, I mean, Ninetales is worse than the card that we have that's not good.
Well, it's not necessarily worse. It's 1 energy versus 2. So 1 energy
Yeah.
is better than 2. So it's maybe it's parallel to it, is
I
what
don't
I'd
know.
say.
Maybe. I mean, but like the card they're using to get Ninetales into play, and I don't know. I feel like Ninetales is still a slow bunch work.
Yeah. Look, I have 3 other Ninetales in format though. So
Yeah,
now
there
I
are
have a
3 other
fourth
Ninetales. There's the
Ninetales.
funny control Ninetales that isn't good, but is funny, and there's some other ones that do like spread or something, which I guess have synergy technically. Also, like this card doesn't do damage. Like it's an attack in stage 1 that doesn't do damage. That like it doesn't do other stuff. It can
Yeah.
take like it moves damage, right? And also it has a counter. It's countered in the same set as well. I mean, I saw this card.
That
I was
is
playing pre-release, and
yes.
people didn't even play this in pre-release. Although they played it, they didn't really use it, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. I don't play. I don't remember. Um, but yeah, it was a
I would
pre-release, and it
think
wasn't very good in pre-release.
I would think if you had a fire deck and pre-release, you're playing it partly.
I
Even the
mean, it was
second
in one of the
attack
kits,
isn't
like one of the two
okay.
attackers in the kits, and people didn't really use it, as far as I'm aware. They use it some
Well, I
because you
don't.
kind of have to.
Oh, I don't think this attack would work well in pre-release. I think it's more in standard with the rule box Pokemon.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, can you like gust, you gust up the Pheasantippi EX to the active, and you use Ninetales to knock it out, right? Um, the new Pheasantippi on a base. So would it? Yeah. So you're still having to use your boss to get probably what you want in the active, is my guess. And such, but you are attacking a single price Pokemon, and you do possibly your opponent retreats something like the Mega to the bench, right? And and they're attacking with a lower HP Pokemon. That's the best use case for Ninetales. How often will that come up, and you can pull it off? That's the question, and it might just be not enough, which is what you're going to say.
Yeah. I mean, I think this card is not good. I mean, I think this card is quite bad. I think it's. I mean, not like the
Okay.
worst card in the set or anything like that, but I think it's probably one of the worst final evolutions at. Not sure. It's probably bottom 10, I gotta imagine. My opinion. But anyways, I think this card's bad. We've talked about it a bunch, but let's move on to the next card, I guess, which is
Yeah.
Easy's Tranquility. She have at 8, I have at 9. We have it kind of similar. This card is Switch on Sporter, but then if you moved an EX to your bench, you heal 80. This card's like seeing some play in Japan. Admittedly, this card's like okay. It's not
Yeah.
interesting and it's not super strong in terms of how universal it is. It's pretty universal though. Switching healing, kind of nice. You played a lot of Mallow and Lana. I played it a little when
Right.
that was in form a while ago. And we've seen various other switching healing cards, which are like all right, Which card as well down recently. That's the one I should have said. Or more recently, not. So yeah, Easy's Tranquility is fine.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's okay, is what it is. I like it, and you can make an argument that should be higher on my list. I can see that. It'll see some play. I think it's something that I will play some. I don't know if to use my supporter. I don't know if 80 healing 80 is enough to really justify it. Right. The other was you healed 120, the old tag team
Yeah, he did
supporter.
discard 2 as well. But it was a
You
tag
did.
team. It had some like it was like searchable, which was good as well.
Right, and HPs were lower, so
Yeah.
so 120 then is would to make a comp would even be higher now, right? You don't nerf the 120 to 80. I mean, that's even a bigger deal, I'll say, right? Um, it's the decks don't play a lot of switching cards in them right now, I would say, partly because of air balloon. So having something that does some switching plus something else I has some value today in the game. We do have Pokemon like that can draw you cards in the active and such. And of course, we got to switch our Crobats in and out of the active spot. We talked about that being the key to the game and
And
the
your
meta going
Crobat Mega
forward.
Greninja deck, like so much switching.
Yeah, the problem is I don't heal the Crobat, but that's
Well,
okay.
heal the Mega Greninja and then use your regular switch on the Crobat.
Yeah, I'm liking it. Yes, but it's I like the card. I just don't. I think 80's on too low, honestly, for it to be particularly good. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like healing supporters. Generally, they're not very good. This is like, honestly, the amount of healing is like fine. Um, it's a little situational, or it's pretty situational as well. So it's not super good. But it will see some play. It has seen some play in Japan so far, so it's
Yeah,
okay. Pretty boring again. Being boring, I have Philippe. I think Philippe's also kind of boring. This one is okay. This one is attached up to 2 basic metal energy from your discard pile to one of your metal Pokemon. It's energy acceleration. The reason I don't have this higher, honestly, a big reason is, and this is a little contradictory to what I said before, this is more meta stuff, but
yeah,
looking at the metal decks that see some play, they're generally accelerating energy using abilities, and so you don't also need to accelerate energy using the supporter. You could use it with like Hop Zacian or some deck that is playing some metal Pokemon that wants some energy acceleration but doesn't want like regular energy acceleration. But then like why do you want this card? That feels a little niche and a little mediocre in terms of energy acceleration. Supporters, you look at like Crispin being good and it does search out. I'm also lower on Crispin than other people by a little bit. I don't think it's bad, but I'm not like the hugest fan. But obviously, it's more versatile. It just be a bit better. Yes, this accelerates 2, which is better, but Metal's also generally a weaker type. So overall, this card is like okay. I don't really foresee myself playing this card, but I think it's an okay card.
yeah. Look, I think it. In one hand, it's a good card. It was honorable mention for me. It was definitely top 10 at one point. It might even been top 5 at one point. I think accelerating 2 energies is good. The problem is metal's not good, or or you're playing either Matang, which I think is dicey, or you're more likely playing Arcaludon, in which case you don't need Philippe, or you're playing something like Metagross, which because you knocked my Ninetales as saying it was the worst final evolution. I'm looking through. There's a lot of bad final evolutions. We're not going to get through it all, but like this is if you want to play the Metagross, which does for 4 energies just 150, but you need 3 more energies attached. So once you get a mere 7 energies attached, it does 300 on a single prize. So you got to get
Wait,
seven
sorry,
energies on.
which? No, it's what?
Oh no, you discard 3. I'm sorry. You got to
Yeah.
get 4
Wait, this card's
attached.
actually
I
good
got
as
that
well.
wrong.
Like, I mean, the card
Yeah.
isn't good on its own, but it is an actually good card.
Well, you have to get it powered
Okay.
up, right?
Well, yeah. Well, it's a
So
card
so
that's
so
seen play, right? Like,
you're right. I was wrong about. I was reading it wrong. So you need the 4 energies. Yeah, you have Matang and probably Philippe in that deck. I would guess
I
because
think they're just
it's going
playing
to be
Matang. I will look at if people have played Philippe. Obviously, many have seen play with Slowking as well, as I said. Yeah. Okay.
but
Yeah, people have played Philippe some actually. I was. Yeah, they played it with
I mean
Metagross.
accelerating 2 energies from the discard pile is a good supporter, right? Things like that see play, I would say.
Yeah.
It's just we don't need metal. Doesn't need it right now. That's the main problem. If it was a different type, it would be a better card right now.
Yeah. Also, generally, I like something like Melanie, which is kind of similar, only selling one, but it like draws 2 cards, and those cards,
Yeah.
like also getting the draw is really important there. This feels like it can be good. I can definitely think of situations where this card can be really good, but I can think of most situations where this card will probably not. It'll just like not do anything. Also, discarding is a little hard, as we were kind of talked about some, or like I don't know, we were talking about it earlier today, and like regarding some of these other cards, it is doable. You have like Prism Tower as well. It's okay. I think an okay card.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay if it was like water, like with your Mega Greninja EX, then it would be a lot better, right? I would imagine it'd go up your list.
Yes.
Well, because then you power up your Mega Greninja, right? That for that turn.
Yeah. And I guess you also like
Yeah,
guess get rid of energy by using your ability as well. So yeah, that would synergize pretty well.
right. It would be better. I don't know that it would be. It's good. Um, it's not great, and certainly the type isn't great. I think is where probably I think we both kind of have that opinion of it.
Yeah. Then you got your number 9 card here in Claydol, which is a card here. Yeah.
Oh, come on. First Claydol's just awesome anyway. But it's stage one and it's got de-evolution rate. Devolving is just awesome. It does 50 damage, so we don't need to do more than that anyway in a well-constructed deck. And then if your opponent's active Pokemon's an evolution, you devolve it by putting the highest stage evolution card into your opponent's hand. So they have their evolution Pokemon, you evolution rate do 50, and you should be knocking out the active. That's what you're trying to do with it, right? You're knocking out the active. The downside, which is what you'll say, and I'll get it out there, is you're doing this to knock out like the Dragapult EX with a little Claydol here. You need some other damage counters, but that's not the thing. But what happens is you go from 2 or 3 prizes on the rule box Pokemon to 1 prize when you knock it out, but you're still knocking out that evolved, fully powered up rule box Pokemon, and getting that at play is a good thing. So I think it's a fun card. I think devolving's fun. We have ways to add to that. 50 damage is a little short, but we have ways to get extra damage onto things. So it will have. I think it's a card that can have some use.
Yeah, I kind of see what you're going at there. Um, Stage 1 that doesn't like do very much. That's not amazing, but it can be, as you're saying, like knockout Pokemon. And I'm kind of looking at this as Spathron Standard, which also devolves from one colorless here, which surprisingly hasn't play. Yeah, it has not. But it doesn't do any damage, right? So doing 50 is good, but it's not like if this did 70, I'd be like, oh, that's pretty decent. It
Right.
doesn't. It does 50. If it did like 90 or something, I'd be like even happier about it. But I can like see when this card could be good. I can see when this card could be okay. I mean, you just need more damage, and I don't know exactly where you're getting that from. It seems like you're putting in a lot of work to get not very much reward. There could be times though when if you're up against like Frostlass or really just any Mega, yeah, this could be pretty huge. Especially because you're going from that really massive 3 prizes to that 1 prize, but also you're just taking 1 prize. So um, it's definitely something that some decks aren't really prepared to deal with. But also, it doesn't work super well, and the reward isn't usually.
Yeah, you can see. I mean, the problem is you need more damage, like you said. So you're doing Monkey Dory, which obviously does have a counter here, and that's awkward for it. But people are still gonna play Monkey Dory, or you're playing like Dragapult, in which case it could be a plus to a Dragapult deck in some situations, but you don't have the deck space. You need different energy, so you probably just can't play it in a deck like that. But fighting is a good type too, right? So therefore, because fighting is a good type, I think it could go in a deck too,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, you do have Premium
Um,
Power Pro as well. Yeah. So
oh
that
yeah, yeah. So do you put this in some type of a fighting deck? Mega Lucario is the easy one to think of, but and
you
it
just
could
knock
even
him up
possibly.
though.
Yeah, you
Maybe.
probably just want to attack with your Mega Lucario along the way. So, but you probably want some other fighting deck. Fighting does have good both engines, Lunatone Soul Rock, and then the item cards. So it could have some use, but it's not the best card ever. I put it at 9, so I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's not crazy.
Yeah, no, it's not that crazy. Then I have my 10 card here, Gorgeist DX. This one is interesting with Horror Rondo. It does 30, 50 more for each year of damage count, or each Pokemon in your bench with damage counts on it. So it can do up to, I guess, with Air Zero Undeaths, it can do a lot, but it can do up to realistically 280 for one Psychic on a stage 1, which is pretty good. The idea is you play this with, there's like another card that damages itself and evolves and stuff, which is okay, I guess. It's all right there. Originally, I thought like, oh, that's really good because it evolves super quickly. But I was like, what it evolves into isn't actually really good at all. But anyway, so here again, you can do decent damage. Your play is probably the Risky Ruins, and this is a Pokemon that wants Risky Ruins that isn't Darkness type. For some reason, there's like so many Darkness type Pokemon that want Risky Ruins, which can't use it because it doesn't work on Darkness Pokemon. But yeah, it works with Gorgeist DX here, unless there's a Dipty EX or whatever. But yeah. Um, this card is decent. It's not crazy good. I'd say, you look at Mega Greninja EX, I think that's the best EX. You look at Beedrill EX, that's the next one, and then Gourgeist EX is the next one. I think Gourgeist EX and Beedrill EX are kind of similar. Gourgeist EX being weaker, but it is a stage 1, so it's an okay card.
I think it's a lot worse than Beedrill. It didn't make my top 10, certainly. Didn't make my top 16, and I had to look up what Gorgeist did was when I saw it, I think, because I had forgotten about it. I quickly decided it wasn't good. Maybe I'm
Why?
wrong, but I think, well, it's doing 280, which is fine for one energy. 280 for one energy is good. But the problem is I don't think I'm going to be able to do that consistently because how am I going to get the damage counters on to
Risky route?
I need to get
Really?
am I gonna yeah, but what happens when I don't have once I get have to I'm gonna have to play it on some Pokemon probably without risky ruins, and then I don't have a way to move damage counters around, right? We need those cards in format, right? Which we don't have, which I forget what they were. There's ones that we had the Gengar that would damage itself, and then we had what
Yeah,
damage pump
damage
that
pump.
moved around your damage counter. So if we had those cards in format, then all of a sudden Gourgeist is good. Right now, once you get one or two Pokemon without damage in play, which is probably going to happen at some point, even once one, you're not doing 280 anymore, and now then that's a problem, I would say.
Yeah, there's Team
Um,
Rocket's Venture Bomb, but that's on a coin flip. Feels so good. Wait, sorry, does Team
yeah,
Rocket's Venture Bomb put on your active? Do I think about it? Or is it on their active? Let me check. Oh yeah, it's on your active as well, which kind of sucks as well. Not really where you want it. So
no,
it'll be
you
the
need it
Pokemon
on
you
the
start
bench.
though, which will probably end up on the bench.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been four City League decks, but a bunch of the cards I've talked about recently haven't been in City League decks at all. So, or five City League decks, so it hasn't really seen play the Gourgeist, which is not a shock. I just don't think it's good, but it's the question. Can you get the damage counters around consistently? That's the question with this. If you can, it's good. If you can't, it's real bad.
Yeah, and again, I have this at number 10 here. So I
Yeah.
think it's like okay. I don't think it's super good. I don't think it's going to be a meta deck. I think Beedrill EX has a chance to see play as like a pseudo meta deck. I don't think Gogeist EX really is looking at that, but I think it's okay. Some people play it. It'll be like a fun deck that's around a little bit. I think we'll see. Then you got your number 10 in the Deoxys, the defense form, Deoxys.
Right. I should have just put Deoxys as the covering of all four Deoxys because this is like the Deoxys set here. So three energies and it prevents damage from Pokemon with abilities. That's pretty good. Right? If only there was a card in format that had something like that on it, but it would
Yeah,
be good. So this is a single prize, obviously, which is better, but it's three energies and it's the effect of an attack, so they can get around it. But walls are good. So I don't know if you're playing a control deck if you could put this in it or not. That's kind of the question, right? It's going to go in a wall, or it's in a walling deck, right? So
I don't
walling,
know. I feel like with the walls though, those are abilities, and so they're less energy focused, so they're attacking less. I feel like this would go better in
yeah.
something like Steven's Metagross or
Hmm.
even some deck playing Liz Clefairy EX or with Crispin.
Um, yeah. I mean, powering it up is tricky. You can't power it up in one turn, really. Well, you can. We have the wondrous patch,
Oh
right?
yeah, it was one dispatch. Probably was.
So I guess you're relying on that to get it powered up in one turn because it's a basic. It's a walling basic. You want to be able to get it set up in one turn. In a game where you're going to win with it, you don't want to play it early because your opponent's going to boss it up and knock it out. You want to force them to like double gust it at some point to knock it out if that's the way you're going to win. So it's obviously three energies. Don't like that. Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon's not seeing a ton of play these days. I don't think so. So that's a bad sign for it. But cards like this are just they're fun to me. So that's what I'll say.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd say they're fun, but yeah, they're definitely like interesting as like potential inclusions in decks. I was a big fan of Alolan Vulpix V-Star when that was around. I think that was like super good, a little underrated,
Yeah,
and I mean it was good. It did see play. So yeah, I feel like this card is going to I don't know if it'll see play, but I mean you have your 10 spot. Then I got
yeah,
my honorable mention, which I'll talk about here, which I think is interesting. It's my Dragalge EX. Dragalge EX has two attacks. The second one, Pernicious Poison. This one does, obviously, it does poison, and it does 16 poison, which is obviously a lot.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, quite simply, that is cool. It's a lot of, it's like kind of an accurate attack cost. It's not terrible though. But then you also look at the first attack, Corrosive Liquid, which actually stands out a little more to me. The reason why this attack stands out is because it just discards all tools and special energies from all your opponent's Pokemon, can like get rid of all the special energies. So that's unavailable, which was a basic. This card definitely feels a little sketchy there. But yeah, definitely a card that to me is okay. Like a controlling card, or maybe it's just like card. I don't know. It's not super good. But
Yeah, this is an honorable mention on me, which I didn't post, and this was a top 10 card for me at times, for sure. It's just 16 damage counters is a nice amount. I do like that. And then the first attack, getting rid of tools and special energies, is an interesting option there as well. Partly, honestly, the biggest reason I didn't put it in top 10, because it's comparable to some of these other low end of top 10 cards, I think, for both of us. There's not a big difference. I think the fact it doesn't have weakness with Dragon, which is good. The problem is there's a good Dragon Pokemon in the format, and therefore
what
people are
is that?
targeting Dragon. I can't remember what
Nah,
it
I
is,
can't remember.
but I think if you search for it, you can figure it out, and therefore they give you psychic weakness, and boom, you get knocked out, and therefore it makes every other dragon Pokemon worse because of that, right? And therefore, because this is not a quick deck, right? You're doing 16 damage counters per turn. You're taking not multiple turns to get knockouts. So you just can't afford to be getting one shot, which is going to happen too much. So that's a big problem for it. And even 16, like if it was doing 160 damage, it would just be garbage, right? So but somehow 16 poison counters makes it better
I mean,
somehow, even
it
though
can do
it's
320 or more,
yeah, if they can't switch, right? If they're stuck, yeah,
which they probably will switch.
yeah. Well, they'll have some point in the game where they can't switch, is what I'd say. Um, so let me just quickly hit. You don't have anything else to say on Mega Dragal,
No, I don't have any
right?
other cards.
So I'll just hit these other ones quickly. I that were kind of my other Pokemon, which it had been top 10 at one point for probably Tauros, which is fun. It does. You pick one of your opponent's Pokemon for 2 colors energy, so you power it up with Crispin, and you flip a coin for each Pokemon with Tauros in its name. We have a bunch of what the Paldean Tauroses and such. So you can fill up your bench with that, and then you do flipping 6 coins, 50 each. You're averaging 150. You can hit the bench. It's kind of fun, but it's not going to be good. I think it's fair to say there. And then the other card is the Delphox, which let me find that here. Which type is Delphox
Yes,
again?
it's fire. It's so good.
Fire. Yeah. Well, it's so, you discard. It's got the ability you discard a basic fire energy and draw 7 cards in hand, right? Which isn't bad. It's on a stage 2, so that makes it bad, right? But it's
River
not a
wasn't
bad.
that good.
No, correct. It was not good. I know, and I thought that would be good, and that definitely wasn't good. So therefore, because of that, I know this won't be good. And then it does have Energy Storm, which potentially, if you're playing like the Ethan's Ho-Oh deck, it does 30 damage for each energy attached to all Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents. So you can get a big damage with that potentially as the attack as well. So, but it's really there for the engine piece, but it's going to just come up short, unfortunately.
Yeah, I will say I guess it's pretty good against like Okerpon Meganium or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's not exactly what you're trying to like. I don't know. You're the thing you're like really scared of. I think. Um,
Yeah, and you can't make your secondary attack. If you're playing a fire deck, I could see this as a secondary attacker, an engine piece. The problem is it's stage 2, so it's just not good enough. I can't imagine. Even if I was liking it with fire decks and wanted this as an engine, it's going to be problematic, I would think.
yeah, yeah. So overall, is that all you have for honorable mentions? So if I hit all the other ones yet?
Yes. Yeah, that covers them all.
Overall, I feel like the set is bad, but there are some interesting cards here. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Obviously, we all had like a difficult time ranking these. Um,
Yeah.
that's like interesting to see. Just these cards being kind of bad. Hopefully, they're a little better than they appear though, because the metagame hasn't really shifted very much lately, right? With the new sets,
No.
but we'll see what it ends up looking like. But overall, I am as always excited for new sets. I legitimately am. And there's some cool coming as well to live with the new format, which features this set. Um, Anyways, we hope you all enjoyed the episode here. Obviously, thanks so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. And watching us on YouTube. And you can find us on YouTube on 10 Types or Uncommon Fossil. Both of those, we got the podcast. We have other content there as well. And you can also listen to us on podcasting platforms. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And as always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.